I figure when she takes over the world, she's gonna like me.
So, with my first layer, it is a very, very light wash of yellow ochre. And this is kind of why I said maybe have 2 ready to go, because this is going to be pretty quick, and you're going to have to wait a little
2
bit.
pictures, okay.
It's really filling up that well with some water, and I think maybe about that much. Not too much at all. This is what I do next. Maybe get a little bit of Payne's Gray ready as well.
And if you don't have Payne's Gray?
You can borrow mine. That way you can see how you like it.
No, ochre either.
It's probably a little bit
If
more
you just
than
used
I
light black, would it come out similar or not?
like. What do you mean light black?
Not light black. If you just used a little black in the water.
So, I like the tone of Payne's Gray itself.
Okay.
Everything I've
Personally,
read
it's kind of
says
bluish.
Says that the black muddies your colors as opposed to.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh, I got a whole thing on the corner. That's all right. This is the demo. It's from the bottom of my palette.
It's coming out really good on here.
Nice. You want to wet your whole face.
So you're doing the hair and the face at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Her neck too, no?
Payne's Gray and yellow.
Now, one thing that you're going to see when I'm painting the face is that I'm going to be picking up a lot. Doing a lot of removal. Oh my God, we're in the room where it dries quickly. Would someone be able to get me some paper towel, please? I always forget that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. That's good. Absorbed. Thank you. Oh, man. Yesterday when I was painting with water, I think I had some leftover water in this cup. It just smelled bad. I'm like, oh, my paper smelled.
Okay, that's pretty darn wet.
Yeah, I'm going very wet with my wet on wet here. Especially if you're doing multiple colors here, you want it to be very, very wet. And usually when I'm painting areas, I paint more like further than what I usually need, just so I can get a more natural,
What do you mean further?
like, I'm not gonna paint all the way out to here, I'm just gonna let it naturally spread.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That way I don't have like a hard line
okay.
in some areas. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm going to take, it's very important to look at your reference photo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just see where those highlights are and think about where you want your tones to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. And if you feel like maybe you need a little bit more, you can always add a little bit more since you already got your colors ready.
Well, I was thinking you would just do the whole base in that base color, but you're gonna leave some areas whitish
Yes, absolutely.
on these highlighted spots.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You can dab, you can do brush strokes, whatever you're comfortable with. Don't forget the ear.
You're fine.
If you're not getting everything, that's totally okay. Things will just naturally spread. Now this is the part that you want to, this is nice paper. Nice. This is the part where you still want to be like ready to fix things. Just because you put your pigments down doesn't mean it's time for a break. Because now I have to watch areas that I want to start removing, and I already see a couple that I'm going to be kind of jumping towards. So a big area that you're probably going to be going over and over and over and over again is
Right
the
here.
eyes. You need to make sure that you're keeping that pretty nice and light. Bless you. So I'm gonna
So you're pulling off paint there.
pulling off paint from the eyes. Want to keep it nice and light. Pulling off some extra moisture over here. A little bit under here. A little bit in the eyelid. Like right here in the chin. I do want a little bit right here. You have a good amount of time to work in your areas, though. You'll have a good amount of time.
What color was this you started with?
That was just yellow ochre.
Yellow ochre.
It's a really nice base to start. So like when I think about the tones that I go for first, I look closer to the highlights as opposed to the darker areas of the face, because those are the areas that are going to be kind of popping up and showing. I don't mind if we get a little bit around here, not too much. And we can just pick that up here and there where we need to. Now is also a good time to see that if you don't want those lines there, like those shadow lines, you don't have to have them there. If you don't mind them there because they're going to help you keep things nice and organized, it's okay to keep them there as well. I personally didn't have them in there, but you can just really, 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 really lighten them. Don't forget this area on the nose. This is a really important area to keep light. And I gotta go back over here in the chin, back over here in the neck. And this is basically what I do up to the point where it gets damp. Okay. Alright, any questions so far? So you're gonna do that for like the first 2 layers. Wet on wet, quite a bit. Wait for it to completely dry. If you'd like to, you can use the hair dryers over there to speed up the drying process, but let it dry on its own for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then go at it with a hair dryer.
Why is that?
Because if I were to do it right now, it would be pushing the pigments.
Because it's still so wet.
It's still so wet,
Gotcha,
and it's
okay.
going to affect the way that it kind of blooms.
All right.
So let
if-
it dry.
Let it set. Yeah, let the colors set in a little bit before you use the hair dryer.
Now you're doing it, is this the second
Oh,
sheet?
Second sheet. You
Second
see there's a
first,
lot
only the
more
first.
pigment.
Pigment,
I
yeah.
am going to adjust my mixture just a little bit. I'm gonna have a mixture that has maybe a touch of Payne's Gray, literally just a little bit.
More pigment than a dip of,
But you can see it.
yes.
You can
yeah.
see the difference.
But you added more of the yellow ochre too, right?
I added more of the
Yeah,
yellow
okay,
ochre
sure.
to have more saturation.
Okay. So now you're getting darker now.
Don't forget, take a peek there. I don't know what happened. Take a peek here just to kind of see, you know, how heavy
Where to
pigments
put it,
are.
yeah.
You maybe might want to start doing maybe a touch of the burnt sienna as well. I already have it kind of ready right here, so that's nice. You might want to start doing a burnt sienna mixture with a little bit of yellow ochre.
So we're not gonna need any more of that original yellow ochre, we can mix into it, right?
No, you're gonna need the original yellow ochre. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna start putting pigments down. There we go.
You
See
got a
that?
rebel.
That's okay,
You got
because we're gonna be lifting, right? I'm gonna add a little bit more of this burnt sienna here.
All right, so you're not even using the one with the Payne's Gray yet.
Not yet.
See
I'm
where
gonna
you're
do,
gonna put that.
yeah. So a little bit of that burnt sienna here and there. I'm using more of the burnt sienna kind of in like the middle-ish, especially even in the lips. A little bit in the neck. And we're gonna throw it in the shoulder here.
My yellow ochre's so orange, I don't think I'm gonna need too much of that.
That slight Payne's Gray mixture.
For a little more of the shadowy area,
Yeah, more in this kind of.
like under the eye.
It's
maybe?
it's a little bit more kind of washed out compared to these more colorful saturated areas in the face. Don't forget above that eyelid right there. We want to get that. I think that's pretty good. That's not too bad for the second layer.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and do some Payne's Gray right here for the hair. And then I'm gonna start picking up some pigments.
You know what occurs to me? Maybe you should turn the circle palette, just leave it in the same spot, but turn the colors closer to you.
Oh,
just
that's a
so
good
that
idea.
when you're watching, they can see
Yeah,
the colors.
good call. Can you see it in the camera?
Yes,
Yes.
very well.
Okay. Now, what I like about doing the hair second is that it gives my paper a little bit more time to dry, so that it's not spreading as much in some areas. You might get some spread. Thankfully, right now, the watercolor gods are shining favorably upon me. I'm in a pretty good groove. I'm doing pretty good. Again, go back. If you notice, I don't have that much pooling. If you have a lot of water, just pick it up before you put in your pigments. I'm gonna go ahead and pick some of this up in the eyes right now. Very dry brush. Go ahead, we're gonna get that brow ridge a little bit. Be more sensitive to the eyelids right here. And you cannot forget that nose. We want some nice light areas in your nose. Oh, is that a hair? There we go. And I'm just going back over those same areas because it is so wet. I'm going to be pretty ready to pick some stuff up pretty soon, though.
You're gonna wait till it's damp, you're gonna do it while it's wet.
Well, not pick some stuff up, lay down some darker shadows.
Okay.
I feel pretty good about these. How do you feel about the second layer? Right? I like to kind of start off slow because I can always add more. It's going to be a lot harder to take away. And you could do as many wet on wet layers as you want before you start putting in some heavier shadows, but I decided 2 was pretty good for me. Just being a little bit more decisive. I think I'm not gonna let this completely dry. I'm gonna wait for it to get just close to like damp dry. And that's when I'm gonna put in the shadows or, you know, heavier pigments.
How long do you think that's gonna take?
Probably by the time you guys finish yours. Maybe.
So this is like the
So maybe,
third layer, right?
maybe like 15-ish minutes. This is our second layer right now.
And just to clarify and remind everybody, you didn't wet it again before you added the color. You just went in this time with the color.
No, he wet
No,
it.
I
You
wet
did
the
wet
whole
it.
Oh, he
thing,
wet the
yeah.
whole thing. Where were
Again.
you? thought
I
you
don't
were
know.
right here.
I
You were right here.
I gotta watch the video.
I think you were scared about the flies. You're like, man, those flies.
I know.
I was
Scary
listening to the
stuff.
fly story.
Flies.
That's right. I was horrified.
Help me.
It was
At
pretty
least it
gross.
wasn't spiders.
No, we didn't have.
No, those are not here. That would
I can't-
incur a house burn
Cluster.
down.
Wait a minute.
It's
Get
such an
the
awful
picture.
name, too.
My pool,
This week?
yeah, at a 15 chlorine level, which is like astronomically high, there are spiders breeding in my pool. Wolf
No,
spiders. Yes.
no, I have a pool. Don't horrify
yeah.
me like
This
this.
big.
It's the size of my palm,
The spider?
the spider.
Yeah.
Like
I
the
saw
one
him
she
live-
tried to
My
float
son,
in the water or on the
Paint
edge,
Creek in
or-
Northville,
It was on
and he
the
had a
edge, but-
deck on his apartment, and underneath his deck, he says, he sends me this picture, and I was like, what the hell is this? And this enormous spider web underneath his deck, and the spider was like,
Probably the wolf spiders,
Yeah.
right?
oh.
By the
never
way,
seen
they're
a spider.
poisonous.
Yeah.
You had a spider that big? I know.
Yeah, I had 2 of them actually, and the one had a nest of eggs on her back that hatched.
No,
I had over 100 little baby spiders
Nice.
floating around in the pool.
Should go sell them.
that's awful.
Are you kidding? She would have made a pet out of it.
No, I hate spiders.
Oh, you hate spiders.
Yeah.
It's like the only
I have
thing.
been not minding spiders.
tolerate
I
them,
like them because they
do
get
eat.
the other bugs.
They do.
Yeah, but this
Yeah,
one's
I'm a very
poisonous.
spidery.
Variety.
The
And like
spiders
brown
in my
and
house
red-
Very
are on a
wooded
diet.
around
Yeah,
my
well,
house.
they cannot eat the other bugs.
Huh?
The wolf
I
spider
kept them
just
around because they'd have
causes
these beautiful
Yeah.
webs.
Big.
And
Oh, yeah, the
they
webs
look
are really
pretty.
cool.
A
Yes,
brown
yes,
recluse
yes.
just
And
like
other
gets
stuff.
gangrene.
Nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
for show.
Just giant, like little swarms of
Yeah.
mosquitoes everywhere. Does the spider do anything about it? No.
You sure the mosquitoes and not termites? Because sometimes those swarms are termites.
Ooh, you don't like termites.
I'm sorry. Because in the spring, sometimes you see those little white bugs swarming.
But do the termites bite you?
I
don't think
hope
so.
not.
Mosquitoes do.
Okay.
So, and as you can see, I've still been lifting.
Let's see, I want to see the proportions.
No, I'm not getting a pool. I'm just gonna go to my friends that have
Oh,
them.
my God.
You know, that's what people say. You don't want a pool, you want friends with a pool.
right.
Well, you know Joe's going to be listening to this. You
So now I'm gonna be a little bit more bold with these colors. Let me get a couple wells ready. I'm going to grab some of this burnt sienna. We're going to have, ooh,
Hope you were planning on putting it there.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just thinking.
It's gonna be there now.
okay. Not that much. Put some over there. Mix that in just a little bit. Put it back over here. I need some more water. And a little bit more yellow ochre. So now the paint to water ratio is changing. That has a nice coolness to it. Paper is still cool to the touch, so there's still moisture.
So you want it a bit thicker than the wash? A
Um,
smidge.
yes, yes. More paint than water this time around.
But still pretty thin.
Yes.
what's that? That's the,
That's burnt umber.
that's burnt umber over
Yes.
there. And burnt umber and burnt sienna
Mm-hmm.
mixed.
Mm-hmm. Let's be bold. I'm gonna give this a try. Hope it turns out good. I'm gonna go ahead, grab some of this, and we are just going to put it right in there. While that's wet, you want to be adding in your yellow ochre mixtures as well, here and there. And for the edges, you want to take some water. Kind of bring that out.
You scared yet? I'm scared.
Just kind of pulling that around our face.
Not gonna lie, it looked very orange when you put it down.
It is very orange. In my head, I'm kind of panicking.
No, but it's like spreading well.
Yeah. This is a very good drill to keep calm.
And carry on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much I could do
Yeah.
except keep going. Try to avoid the lips if you can.
I'll give her a freshly vacationed look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more of a
Right.
spray tan, I was thinking. We're
The
just
Trump
being,
effect.
we're just being mean now. Don't mind
No,
us.
it gives me power. I'm like, I'll show you.
Negative
Ooh,
reinforcement for motivation.
This is where things might be looking a little different than the photo,
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
but it's all part of the plan.
So you're not doing the eyes. Good.
Yeah, I'm starting to avoid the eyes a little bit because now I'm doing wet on dry, so I have a little bit more control as to what I'm doing here. And I'm really, really taking a look at my photo and I'm trying to see where certain pigments are, and I'm dipping in different colors. One thing I notice is that there's a lot more yellow ochre towards the right side of the face. But you know what? Now that I'm looking at it in a different light, it was kind of dark at the cafe the other day, or yesterday. I do see some slightly reddish hues in the cheeks, just a little bit. Now, since I'm going damp with it, there's still some moisture, so cauliflowering shouldn't be too big of a worry for me right now.
If we think the paper's gotten too dry, should we wet it again or not?
I don't think so. Like, what do you mean?
Well, in the interim, between the second and third layers here.
Oh, I don't think it should be that dry. I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
So, you also see that I'm not always putting just paint onto the paper. I'm also putting water here and there to help soften a lot of the edges. And help lighten certain
sorry.
areas. No, I'm sorry, I hurt your finger.
No, I think I hurt you with my nail.
And of course, I'm going back and I'm doing that whole lighten up thing. And I'm not done here yet. While I'm working on the neck, I'm probably going to go back once this dries to add in some more shadows and pigments while it's still kind of wettish. I'm going to go ahead and put in that.
So you
nice-
didn't wash the paper this time?
No, now this is wet on dry.
Wet on dry.
But I'm working relatively wet still. It's like wet on damp. Damp to dry.
So with this layer here, you're really not afraid of creating the contrast between the light and the dark areas.
I don't think I am. No. Don't be afraid, because it's already starting to lighten up, if you can
It
see it.
is, yeah, definitely.
Take this water. Let me just bring this out here. Last but not least, don't forget this area. I forgot that area every time. Uh-oh. Here we go. So what I'm doing right now, don't do this too much. You're in risk of overworking it if you do that a lot. Kind of going back and trying to fix things too much. Even right now, I'm pulling a risky move with the water.
It's coming out okay.
Yeah.
Looked like she had a birthmark.
So this is the part where you have a little bit of time to fix some stuff if you really needed to. But also learn from me and see exactly what's happening too. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some burnt umber, take a little bit of that Payne's Gray, dull it out a little bit. Really nice way to kind of bring down that saturation. We're going to, wow, that really got into the eye, didn't it? Is it still too wet? I think it might be. I think it's a little bit too wet for this step. So wait for it to dry more. Like here, that's not too bad. Put some right here. Throw some down on the nose. A little bit on the outside.
Do you know, I think my mom was more excited about portraits for me than I was. And I was pretty excited. Like, I think that's why I took this class, even though Nancy wasn't. And she called me today and she's like, don't forget about your class. You know, because the first week I came to the wrong one. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to forget. I'm really not. And she's like, well, are you excited? I'm so excited. As soon as you're finished, you have to send me a picture of the portrait.
You gotta
I'm
show
like,
me
you
how to
even
do it."
remember
Wow.
how to make portraits? She was so excited.
No, you're not. You just got my sandal.
My husband's excited about me
Is he?
painting too. Yeah, I don't know why.
That's
Because you're good.
I'm not that good.
Mm-hmm. You are
Maybe you come
good.
back happier.
More at
Maybe you
peace.
come back
Relaxed.
happier and
There you
more
go.
relaxed and.
We go home now, we eat and watch HGTV and go to bed. My husband sees, because she sleeps over, right? And my husband sees us come in, how was class? Good, what'd you do? Oh, he either likes it or he doesn't.
What was it last week?
No,
He
you-
looked, oh, that's good. And you're like, Shelley,
That's,
that's the print.
that's that's the source. Oh,
That's so cute.
why doesn't yours look like that?
He's doing his best.
Yeah, then he goes to bed, like I said, we eat and watch TV.
I'm gonna make the executive decision to kind of stop messing with it too much. I am getting a lot spilling into the eyes.
It's too
But the
wet.
blending looks very nice.
Maybe. Do you think
It
so?
does.
I
Thank
think
Yeah.
getting a
you very
little
much.
cauliflower
Yeah.
over there, do something with
It
that.
doesn't look
No.
as orange.
Nah?
Yeah. I mean,
Nah?
it wasn't
Really,
really, that
nah?
was to be
Yeah,
expected when
yeah,
you first
yeah,
put
no.
it on.
What do you
so-
mean, nah?
Yeah.
No?
Like
Well,
just the
that's gonna be an
evenness of it
eyebrow.
kind
Yes.
of coming
Oh,
in
okay.
just
Yes.
way,
Which is
right?
quite
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
That part's really good to see.
Yeah, on a faces, you can't, like on my landscape, I just put a tree there.
Tattoos.
That's true.
Yeah, this is Mike
Then
Tyson's
she's
dog.
unemployable
You need
because it's her
to
face.
date somebody with tattoos. That would be fun.
Get
would be hard.
piercings. We'll add
Yes,
some
but it'd be
piercings.
cool.
I would need way more drawing
Yeah.
skills for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need a light box to trace.
Remember when I said I was gonna stop?
You lied.
So
Yeah, I
what
guess I
page
did
does
lie.
that correspond to in your?
See, that's the thing is that
Four
it's
and five.
4 and
yeah,
5?
4 and
Six,
5
maybe,
combined.
eh?
I think
There's a
I'm-
lot going on with this layer.
There is, there
Yeah.
is. And that's one thing that I found is that while I was taking the photos, I had to stop and be like, oh, take a photo, because I'm making a lot of progress.
Yeah.
Now I'm not taking the photos, so I'm just kind of going, you know? And a very important lesson is you gotta know when to stop. You gotta know when to kind of take it easy and just relax.
It's cool. The
I'm
shadows are showing up
getting
good on
there.
the screen.
I'm gonna take a little bit.
At this
of-
stage, you can do anything with the hair, or that's gonna wait till something else?
Yeah, no, I'd probably jump in with the hair right now too. Right now I'm gonna make a little mixture for the lips. I'm taking a little bit of red, a little bit of burnt sienna, some Payne's gray, especially for that upper lip.
And we know which red you're using?
Cadmium red.
Cadmium?
Just regular cadmium.
Pretty spot on color.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a nice mix for lips. I like it. I'd buy that in a lipstick.
If you want to switch to a smaller brush, this is probably one I did too. I'm not too worried about all these little like whitish areas, just because I'll be covering it up again. And if you look, this area is really starting to lighten right here too. I'm gonna go ahead, thank you for reminding me, we're gonna throw in some Payne's gray for the hair. I don't even think I did it in that step yet. Yeah, I was really just invested in everything else.
So that's much darker.
Okay, so when I sit down to do this, you're gonna have to review the color mixes again for me. I don't know if anybody else don't remember, I already forgot.
Now, just kind of like our trees, you might want to leave some spaces here and there for some highlights. Don't be too meticulous with it, just a couple.
This is the point we do that.
I did a kind of okay job at doing that. I might try to lift some of it, but be careful around the ear. Let's give this a try. See if I can lift some stuff. I'm not gonna touch that anymore. I will let that. You know what? I kind of wanna touch it more. I think we're okay. I think we should be okay. And in terms of what I'm doing right now, I just want to start putting in some of these shadow shapes that we see going on like right here. Right? So that's kind of the goal as of right now. I'm doing burnt sienna mixtures, burnt umber mixtures. Kind of think about what you want to see in these shadows here. Yeah. I always try to get at least 3 mixtures of something. Let's jump in.
So burnt sienna,
Ah,
burnt umber,
perfect.
and then a touch of the cadmium.
No,
That's for
Payne's
the
gray.
lips. So this is like a good kind of, this is a good point to do this part of the painting, I think.
What did you mix the cadmium red into?
Mix cadmium red with a little bit of burnt umber, because I'm looking at her upper lip. Upper lips are usually a little bit darker, so that's kind of what I used for that. And then I threw in a slight bit of Payne's gray to help kind of dull it out. Right now we are just putting in some darker shadow shapes, and then what I want to do is I want to create soft edges on one side of it. So I take my brush, I wet it a little bit, and I kind of pull that edge out. What we're going to do is we're going to pull that out. That's going to transition into maybe a little bit of the bridge of the nose. Pull that out. The nose is a little tough, so if you're having a hard time, that's okay. Try to keep that left side pretty light. That's what I found helped me. Fill in that nostril a little bit. And then connect it through the philtrum.
Is that what that's called?
This
Yeah.
Travis over here making up words.
That's not,
I'm
that's
just
not,
kidding.
that's not. I heard it in the movies.
Go back to anatomy.
I was gonna say, anatomy.
You're going really far with this.
Yeah.
This is gonna
That's
take me a
Yeah.
while to catch up.
that's kind of the hard part, is because the wait time
Yeah.
starts to change when you're doing wet on dry. And that's what I said. You know, once we start getting out of the wet on wet, it's going to start going a lot faster, which is nice because we got the video. Hey.
Yeah.
So if
Pause
you
it, catch
did
up, yeah.
want to go review it,
Which will
do a
be
play-by-play,
definitely, yeah.
we can watch that real quick if you'd like to.
You're gonna send this to us, right?
Yeah, I'm going to post it on YouTube. You guys better share it.
Okay, so
Get
make
some
sure you,
subscribers.
you send us a email with a link to the YouTube.
Yeah, I can do
I'll never find
I'll never find it on my email.
I was just thinking that. I hate email.
that. Really? Is there a better way for me to send these things?
No.
Texting?
Text it? I could text
Can
it.
you put the link in the text?
Yeah,
You can?
yeah. I could
You
text
can,
you
you
if you
can. I
really
do
if
that
you
to
really
people all
want
the
me to
time.
text you. I can text you. It's fine. You just gotta write your phone
The
number.
least amount of steps.
Yeah, it's even the slight variation you're making in all the colors to achieve the different areas is gonna be a little beyond me, I think.
Right, those first two steps were pretty easy.
Yeah, you lull this
Wash,
into
wash.
he lulled us into a full sense of security.
I know, but it's. I think you'll get it. It's.
He didn't mix it, right?
What did
He
you just put in there
He
with
just
that really
dipped the
dark
brush
stripe? What
without
was
cleaning the
that?
brush
What do you
into each
mean?
point.
Around
I know,
the
and it
lips?
still looks the same.
Around the lips.
Okay.
That was burnt umber and a little bit of burnt sienna mixed in
That you're doing now?
over here around the lips.
Umber and sienna,
Yes.
okay.
I need to find those colors.
I will stop soon. I promise.
You said that about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Now, are we gonna work on
Good
this
Lord,
at
it's
home, or-
8:20 already?
Yeah, are we gonna work
Oh,
on
we
this
ain't- we're
next time we
not
come
gonna
in?
get
Well, what does the
far.
camera say? What does the camera say?
21:02.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, you've been working for 20 minutes here.
Just flies by. I'm having too much fun.
Do we have audio on this? Are they gonna hear? if
They're
you-
gonna hear
anything?
everything.
Greetings,
Oh, do you have
America.
audio on it?
Luckily, I don't have that many viewers. If anything, you might get some kids from Detroit hearing this, but I doubt they watch my videos.
At least not after the school year's over and the grades are in.
My current students don't watch them. It was more when I was student teaching at Cas Tech. That's
Oh, I see how you pulled that dark stripe together.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I was
gonna
like,
have
where'd
to.
that dark color
Yeah,
come from?
I'm gonna have to use that as a tutorial and follow along step by step, I think.
For
I'm not
sure.
gonna remember how to pull these together.
You had us all fooled with that bright orange you first put on.
It's not blending so nicely.
because I did it while it was damp.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has that moisture still. I can still really work it.
And it's been over 20 minutes, so ours are all dry.
I don't think
But
so.
what do you recommend? You just go right in, even if it's dry, instead of re-wetting?
Yes, I
And
think you
just
could.
work with
you-
warm water on the brush? then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you could do that.
It's nice.
I'm just gonna do the forehead and then I'll chill out.
It's nice.
Just throw in that right there. Throw in some of this, a little bit of brown sienna. All right, I'm done.
Turned out nice.
Yeah. I'm going to the bathroom.
Thank you. Take a little break. If you'd like to see that again, or see certain steps, I can edit the video right quick and then I can play it for you. This is the tougher part, but I think you
Turned
can
out
do it.
great.
Yes.
Thank you. Stop.
Do we need to take your water jars away?
You might have to. All right. Stop.
Yeah.